It's one of the most remarkable materials ever created, and it's all around you. Windows, bottles, screens, light bulbs, lenses, mirrors. You're almost certainly looking through a piece of it right now. Glass is so ordinary that we barely notice it, but stop and think about what it actually is. A hard, solid material you can see straight through, made from nothing more exotic than melted sand. To create it, that sand is heated past 1600 degrees Celsius until it glows like lava, then shaped while white-hot and cooled with incredible precision. Get it wrong and it shatters. Get it right and it's perfectly clear and strong enough to hold a skyscraper together. So how do you turn a handful of sand into a flawless sheet of glass? Today, we're going inside the factory to find out. Humans have been making glass for a very long time. The first glass objects, small beads, were crafted in ancient Mesopotamia over 4,000 years ago. By around 1500 BC, artisans in Mesopotamia and Egypt were shaping the first hollow glass vessels, using a painstaking technique of wrapping molten glass around a core of clay and dung. Glass was rare, precious, and reserved for the wealthy. Then, near the end of the 1st century BC, came a revolution: glassblowing. Craftsmen along the eastern Mediterranean discovered that a blob of molten glass on the end of a hollow pipe could be inflated like a bubble, quickly, cheaply, and into almost any shape. The Roman Empire embraced it, and glass transformed from a royal luxury into an everyday material. That simple blowpipe technique is still used by artisans today, and its spirit lives on in the machines of every modern glass factory. Before we make it, let's understand it, because glass is genuinely strange. Most solids, like metal or ice, are crystalline. Their atoms lock into a neat, repeating grid as they cool. Glass doesn't do this. When molten glass cools, it thickens so quickly that its atoms get frozen in place before they can organize, locked into the random, jumbled arrangement of a liquid. Scientists call this an amorphous solid. In a sense, glass is a snapshot of a liquid, frozen mid-motion. This unusual structure is the secret to everything glass does: its smoothness, its hardness, and above all, its transparency. But we'll come back to exactly why you can see through it. First, we need to make some, and it all begins with the most abundant material on Earth's surface. The most common glass in the world, the kind in your windows and bottles, is called soda-lime glass, and it's made from just 3 simple ingredients. The first and main one is silica, which comes from sand. Pure silica can become glass all on its own, but it has a problem. It doesn't melt until around 1700 degrees Celsius, which is impractically hot. So we add the second ingredient, soda ash, or sodium carbonate. Soda ash dramatically lowers silica's melting point, making the whole process far more efficient. But that creates a new problem. The resulting glass would slowly dissolve in water. So a third ingredient fixes it: limestone, which acts as a stabilizer, making the glass hard, durable, and water-resistant. Sand, soda ash, and limestone. Add a splash of recycled crushed glass, and you're ready to melt. The precisely measured ingredients, collectively called the batch, are fed into an enormous furnace. And these furnaces are extreme. Inside, temperatures climb to around 1600 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to melt the raw materials into a glowing, honey-like liquid. The largest industrial furnaces run continuously, day and night, for years at a time, because it would take weeks to reheat them if they ever cool down. As the batch melts, the ingredients chemically fuse into a uniform molten glass. Bubbles rise and escape, and the mixture is stirred and refined until it's perfectly smooth and free of imperfections. What emerges is a river of liquid fire, clear molten glass, glowing orange-white, ready to be shaped. And exactly how it's shaped depends on what it's about to become. For flat glass, windows, mirrors and screens, nearly all of it is made using a brilliant method called the float glass process, invented by Sir Alistair Pilkington in 1959. The challenge had always been making glass perfectly flat and smooth on both sides. Pilkington's solution was elegant. Float it. The molten glass flows out of the furnace and onto the surface of a long bath of molten tin. Because glass and tin don't mix, and because tin is denser, the glass spreads across it and floats, like oil on water. Gravity and surface tension pull the top surface perfectly level, while the molten tin below gives it a flawlessly smooth underside. As the glass ribbon drifts along the tin bath, it gradually cools and hardens into a continuous sheet of perfectly flat glass. Before this invention, flat glass had to be ground and polished for hours. Today, it simply floats into perfection. But not all glass is flat. Bottles, jars and containers are made a completely different way, one that automates that ancient art of glassblowing. Instead of a human with a pipe, giant machines do the work. A precise glob of molten glass, called a gob, is sheared off and dropped into a mold. Then, just like a glassblower, the machine blows compressed air into the gob, inflating it against the walls of the mold until it takes the exact shape of a bottle. Modern machines can produce hundreds of bottles every single minute, each one identical. Other glass products are made by pressing molten glass into molds or by drawing it out into thin strands. That's how the glass fibers in fiber optic internet cables and insulation are made. But whichever shaping method is used, every piece of glass now faces the same critical danger: cooling down. Here's something most people never realize. Cooling glass is far more dangerous than heating it. When hot glass cools unevenly, the surface hardening while the inside is still hot, it builds up enormous internal stresses. Left unchecked, those stresses can cause the glass to crack or even shatter on its own, sometimes hours or days later. To prevent this, freshly formed glass is passed through a long, temperature-controlled oven called an annealing layer. Inside the layer, the glass is cooled slowly and evenly over a carefully controlled journey, allowing the internal stresses to gently relax and disappear. By the time the glass exits the other end, it's stable, stress-free, and safe to handle. Annealing is the quiet, invisible step that makes glass reliable, and it's absolutely essential. But sometimes manufacturers want the opposite of relaxed glass. Sometimes they want it under extreme tension. That's where tempering comes in, the process that creates super strong safety glass, the kind used in car windows, phone screens, and glass doors. To temper glass, it's reheated to over 600 degrees Celsius, then blasted with jets of cold air that cool the outer surfaces almost instantly, while the inside stays hot longer. As the inside finally cools and contracts, it pulls the hardened outer layers into a state of powerful compression. This locked-in tension makes tempered glass up to 5 times stronger than ordinary glass. But the real magic is how it breaks. When ordinary glass shatters, it forms long, razor-sharp shards. Tempered glass, bursting with stored energy, explodes into thousands of tiny, blunt pebbles, far less likely to cause serious injury. That's why it's called safety glass, and why it surrounds you in cars and buildings every day. Once glass has been formed and properly cooled, it's ready for finishing. Large sheets of float glass are cut to size, and cutting glass is a beautiful trick of physics. A hard wheel or a laser scores a shallow line across the surface, creating a tiny fracture. Then, with a precise application of pressure, the glass snaps cleanly along that exact line. The edges may be ground and polished smooth to remove sharpness and prevent cracks from forming. From here, glass can be given countless finishing touches. It can be coated with microscopically thin metallic layers to reflect heat in energy-efficient windows, tinted with added minerals for color, frosted, laminated with plastic for shatterproof windshields, or bent and curved under heat. A single raw sheet can become anything from a smartphone screen to the mirrored wall of a skyscraper. Now for the question we promised to answer. Why is glass transparent when the sand it's made from is not? The answer lies in that amorphous structure and in physics. For a material to be transparent, light has to pass through it without being absorbed or scattered. In most solids, electrons can absorb the energy of visible light, capturing it and blocking it. But in glass, the atoms are arranged so that its electrons simply can't absorb the energy of visible light. There's nowhere for that energy to go. So, instead of being absorbed, the light passes straight through, almost untouched. And because glass has no crystal grain boundaries, no internal structure to bounce light around, it doesn't scatter that light either. The result is a material that is solid to your hand, but invisible to a beam of light. It's one of the quiet miracles of materials science. There's a famous myth about glass that you may have heard, that glass is actually a slow-moving liquid. People point to the windows of old cathedrals, which are often thicker at the bottom, and claim it's proof that the glass has slowly oozed downward over the centuries. It's a great story, but it's completely false. Glass is a true solid. Scientists have calculated that even over 1 billion years, glass at room temperature would flow by about 1 nanometer, a distance so small it's utterly meaningless. The real reason those medieval windows are thicker at the bottom is far simpler. They were made by hand, using techniques that produced uneven panes. And the glaziers of the time sensibly installed them with the heavier, thicker edge at the bottom for stability. So, no, your windows are not slowly melting. They'll outlast us all. Before we finish, here are a few things to appreciate about glass. First, it's one of the only materials on Earth that is infinitely recyclable. A glass bottle can be melted down and remade into a new bottle over and over, endlessly, with no loss in quality. Which is why factories add crushed recycled glass, called cullet, right back into the furnace. Second, nature makes glass too. When lightning strikes sand, the heat can fuse it into hollow glass tubes called fulgurites. And when volcanoes erupt, fast-cooling lava can form obsidian, a natural glass so sharp it was used for ancient blades and is still occasionally used in modern surgical scalpels. From molten sand to the screen you're watching this on, glass is one of humanity's oldest and most extraordinary inventions, hiding in plain sight precisely because you can see right through it. So the next time you take a sip from a glass, glance out a window, or tap your phone screen, take a second to appreciate it. That flawless, transparent material began as ordinary sand, melted in a furnace hotter than lava, floated on a river of liquid metal, and cooled with careful precision. All so you could look straight through it without a second thought. From ancient beads to modern skyscrapers, glass has shaped human civilization in ways we rarely stop to notice. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. We break down how everyday things are made every single week. And leave a comment below. Which everyday object should we uncover next? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.